Anyway, don't think you need reminding what happened yesterday. 4,000 winners for the champion jockey, and this morning had another chat with him. That was just the most perfect day, wasn't it?
Yeah, just everything about it. Look, the way the horse won, the fact that lots of people had seemed to take the day off and come to Toaster in the anticipation that I was hopefully or definitely going to ride a winner, which on my way in, when I saw lots of press and people there, I was thinking if this game was only as easy as people think. But it was fantastic, you know. Obviously riding the winner for John Joe and for JP, those colours, Chanel and Archie and Eve were there, my dad and my brother were there. But look, I've been lucky all throughout my life. Look, so you know, for the people that, first and foremost, for the people that I worked with, you know, from the late Billy Rock, I had 4.5 years in Jim Bolliger's. I was so lucky to come and work for Toby Balding when I came to England first. I spent 7.5 years with Martin Pipe, which would have been any jockey's dream to be able to ride for Martin Pipe for 7.5 days, never mind 7.5 years. And we become great friends, and then obviously for John Joe and for the boss. So it's been fantastic in every way. I've you know, ridden lots of winners for different people. You know, we were just saying away in the late David Johnson when I was at Martin's. I rode so many winners for David as well. So you know, I've been lucky. And yesterday was a special day in lots of ways because my agent Dave Roberts, who's booked me on all 4,000 winners, I should think. Sadly, his father passed away the day before yesterday, and he came racing, and you know, he said his dad would have wanted him to come. So I felt in lots of ways that maybe his dad was looking down on me. You know,
it was an electric atmosphere, though. I know, you know, everyone was there and all the right people were there, but the public and everything, it just made it, didn't it? It was perfect.
Yeah, it was perfect in lots of ways. In fairness to Toaster, it's got a free entry as well. It probably give people a little bit more of an incentive to come on the day that was in it. And as I said, it's quite close to here. It's only an hour from home. You know, I was kind of thinking if people had to trek maybe a little bit further afield to hopefully see me ride a winner. But it couldn't have happened. If I planned it, it couldn't have happened any better.
Because it was starting to drag on. Everyone was going, oh no, ride a winner, man, weren't they?
Yeah, it was. Look, it was starting to drag on a little bit. You know, the last few days, as I said, I was probably being a little bit selective in the horse I was riding because I really wanted to ride my winner for John Joe, really, and obviously for JP.
Was that your decision? JP didn't say I'd like you to ride?
No, JP would never. He would never have said that. But I just felt that, you know, having had so many great days working for both of them, obviously winning the Grand National and the Gold Cup, and you know, I just felt it was only right. It was something that I, you know, in years to come, when people have forgotten who I am, that if I'm able to look at a picture in my house of my 4,000 winner, I'll be able to see it was in the green and gold colours. And obviously Eve has been convinced for the last 2 years or however long she can remember, she's convinced that the green and gold colours belong to me, that they don't actually belong to JP. So for her sake, it was nice as well. But it just couldn't have worked any more perfect, you know.
JP's a wonderful boss, but just sort of sum him up as a man, because you admire him, don't you, as much as anything? You know, he's a self-made man.
Yeah.
And there's a lot about him.
A great outlook in life, and you can learn so much from spending time with him, which I've been lucky enough to do.
Do you speak to him every day?
I speak to him most days, yeah. I speak to him most days. Both Noreen, his wife, and obviously my wife, Chanel, have... sometimes they think that we spend more time together with one another than we do with each of those. And it has been known in the past that we've spent a few Valentine's nights together, both myself and him, having a romantic dinner for two in London. So, but no, he's a great man. I said, and it's like, you know, I think to be successful at something, look, you have to really enjoy what you do and enjoy the people you do it with. And I've always enjoyed the people that I've worked with. As I said, from Billy Rock, Jim Bolger, Toby Balding, and my 7.5 years in the pipes, Martin and Carl were fantastically good to me, and obviously David as well. Although David's kind of forgotten that I'm still a jockey because he doesn't give me any rides anymore. And then obviously, you know, John, Joe, and JP. You know, you got to really like the people that you work with, otherwise it becomes work. Yeah,
I sense that there are sort of people. You know, you've got to say the right things. I know you're always going to say nice about this sort of people, but there are people that you admire, you put on that pedestal. You always mention Master Pipe, you always mention JP McManus, because they're people just in life, just not necessarily racing, that you admire.
Yeah, you can't not but admire. They're high achieving people. You know, you know, you can learn so much from them. They're people that that are always looking ahead, and in lots of ways they seem to be able to see what's going on ahead and seem to see things much sooner and earlier than all the rest of us. And you kind of think, how come I didn't work that out? And that was very much like what Martin was when he was, you know, when I was working for him as a trainer. And it's the same with John now, and obviously with JP. You know, but you need to like, you obviously need to like what you're doing, but you need to like the people you're doing it with as well.
Funny enough, I was talking to a good friend of ours, Carl Llewellyn, and we were just talking about how well you're riding at 39, and he was saying you're riding better. I said, well, you can't be better at 39 than you were at 25, and yet Dave Roberts told me yesterday he thinks you're a better jockey now than you were 10 years ago.
You know, you'd love to believe that.
He thinks you're more considered. You're a more considered rider now.
Yeah. I think people now think I'm maybe not as one-dimensional as maybe as they thought once upon a time that I was. But in life, you need to improve. You know, yeah. I need. All my life, I've wanted to improve. I want to be better today than I was yesterday. Statistically, I was at my best in 2002. I rode 289 winners. Will I ever be as good as that again? Who knows? If you were asking me when was I riding at my best, I'd say 2002. Now, obviously, I had the added advantage of riding 189 winners for Martin Pipe, which most people don't. You know, there's lots of people don't ride that many winners in their career, let alone for one trainer in one season. I don't think I've lost it. I don't think I'm riding. I think I'm competing well. I think I'll never be able to be happy. I can never be happy because you know, obviously I was happy yesterday for a while, but you know, you always look forward, and there will always be days when you have a bad day and you think maybe I am losing it.
I think you are happier.
And then you want to go out and you want to prove to yourself and prove to everyone else the next day. Is, you know, when I have a bad day, I can't wait to go back the next day because I need to get it out of my system. I need to get the demons need to be quietened, and you need to go out and improve and prove to yourself that you've still got it. So, but I'm probably happier in ways that in the last year or two I've felt happy in that I've kind of been satisfied with what I've achieved, you know, whereas before, you know, I was never satisfied. You know, I was never satisfied, and I was never, you know, I could never believe in myself that I was, you know, that I was ever that, you know, that I was. I'm not saying that I believe that I'm good now, but I'm happier now that I've kind of achieved a lot of the things that I wanted to achieve in my life.
Do you think you'll end up, you know, when you see Richard Dunwoody sometimes, we know what he's like, you know, running around chasing polar bears, but he's not really that, to me anyway, he doesn't appear that content. Something's still missing. Do you think that when you retire, you'll feel like I've ticked every box now?
Well, you know, I was very lucky. I learned a lot from Richard in lots of ways. He was champion jockey when I came to England first. He's a very good friend. You know, you learn a lot of things that you think that you could, you know, that you could do that might work out better for you than worked out for him. But I learned an awful lot from him. His pain threshold was second to none. He was unbelievably tough. He really brought the art of riding to a new level. I mean, I obviously didn't ride with Peter Scudamore or John Frankham or John O'Neill or any of those past, you know, Frank Berry's, any of the great jockeys that were multiple champion jockeys. Richard was someone that I looked up to when I was riding, and he set the benchmark, and he definitely improved the standard of riding probably as much as any of us.
Did he set? Was he what you based your?
Oh, very much so. He was champion jockey. He was the best, and if you want to to be the best, you've got to look at whoever's on top and think. You look at what he did, what way he runs his life, what makes him as good as he is, and you try and pick little pieces out of that, and then try and find your own way after that. But you need to look at the top. You need to look at the top. There's no point looking elsewhere. You know, the people at the top are there for a reason. And I learned an awful lot from him. Unfortunately for Richard, his career ended through injury, and I can totally 100% see more than anyone why he found it really, really tough to go racing, and found it tough not to be a jockey anymore. He wasn't ready to retire, you know. And look, I'll, God forbid, hopefully I'll get out of racing in one piece with my health intact.
Because you don't want to be that boxer that goes into the ring for that one fight too many. That's awful, isn't it? That's rubbish.
You know, I've always said that I wanted to retire whilst I've been champion jockey, and I wanted to retire at the top. The problem is that I in some ways I kind of hope one day I wake up and I think I don't really enjoy this anymore, because it'll be easy for me.
But it's not going to happen, is it?
But yeah, and that kind of worries me. You know, I sometimes I worry that's not going to happen, and I know that, you know, the enemy of every sports person is time, and but anyway, I'm going to enjoy it for a bit longer yet and see how long I can last. If the missus
has her way, mate, you'll be retired today. You wouldn't be going to Southwark.
I'd have been retired long ago if she had her way. But as I said, it's what makes me happy. I enjoy what I do. I'm very lucky. Any sportsman that can have a life in sport is very lucky. And I'm lucky. You know, I could. You know, I look forward to riding horses. You know, I'm out there on my own little world. You know, someone asked me, you know, did I feel the pressure of being in Toaster yesterday? And, you know, obviously there was a certain amount of pressure with the people that had come for the day, and in some ways. But when I got out onto the racecourse in Mountain Tunes, it genuinely feels that I forget. It's like I just go into my own little world. And it was only when I got past the second horse just towards the winning post that it started to register me that was the one, you know.
I've heard you criticised before from people saying that about the horses, you don't mention the horses, but I mean, you can't do your sport surely and not love horses.
Yeah, you know, but some people don't understand that in racing. You know, that I became a jockey because I loved horses. It was nothing to do with at first wanting to be a jockey. I didn't know when I was 2 years. The first time I was on a horse was 2 years old. I rode a pony when I was 7 or 8. I didn't know really at that point about being a jockey or anything like that. It was just because I loved my pony, and that's what I was into. I've been lucky. I've ridden some fantastic horses, some great horses. The horses are like people. Look, you know, you get, there's some that might not be the greatest you've ever ridden, but you like them. They have a great character. There's some that might be good, but you don't particularly like. There are obviously some you get on with and some you don't. Some are like yourself. Some are not so good. Some are not so good looking and not much talent, but you get on okay with them. You know, you actually in some ways feel sorry for them. But
do you like locking horses? Just say, for instance, Dino's Beano or someone, or you know, there are certain horses that you love.
Yeah, you got to challenge yourself. You know, and some horses are. Some horses, I suppose, again, are like people. They're not that mentally strong, and sometimes you can encourage them and actually make them believe that they actually can do it. You know, that's something that I think sometimes maybe people and horses don't. You know, you have to believe. If you don't believe, then no one else is going to believe. So you got to you got to believe yourself. You got to make yourself believe, and then you got to make whatever else is going around you believe. Even if you're dreaming, you still got to believe.
I bet you must pinch yourself though. I mean, can hear little Eve. It's a birthday day, riding around in a new bike in the hallway. Your lovely wife. You know, the beautiful new house here. Life can't get any better, can it?
Yeah. Look, I have been lucky in life. I've been very privileged that my sport, my hobby, whatever it is, has given me a fantastic life. As I said, it hasn't all been enjoyable. It's been tough. You know, both the equine side of it, fatality-wise, I've had friends, I've had fatal injuries, serious injuries. You know, I spent the last 2 Saturday nights I've been up in the north, and I've been staying up there, and I've spent the last 2 nights in the hospital with John Thomas McNamara, and that kind of puts a lot of things in perspective. And so I am very lucky in lots of ways. I said I'm lucky for the people that I've worked for and the people I've ridden for. So yeah, I'm very privileged.
So where does it go now? Obviously, Southern today for one.
Hopefully, I'll get 4001 winners today. That would be nice. And then obviously after today, I'm sure it'll just be back to normal. And I'm not sure I'm racing Saturday, and then I think I'm in Navan Sunday, so it'll be back to normal, and it's back to trying to. I have a job to do. I want to hopefully ride good horses and good winners, and through the winter. And if I do that, that will be, I have done pretty much all my life. You get to the end of the season and you have a look back and you think about how you've done and what you've achieved and whether you should be carrying on basically. And that's just the way I am. I have to be able to be happy with what I've achieved.
Funny, if more people asked you yesterday, which surprised me, about riding 5,000, they did retire you.
Yeah,
I thought they were going to try and retire you.
Yeah, it was fantastic. I was over the moon that people were starting to think I might be able to do this for a little bit longer. Normally after I won the Grand National, people were asking how long I was going to ride for and when am I going to retire, and I was thinking the immediate question is going to be, when are you going to retire? And luckily, people actually thought that, could you ride 5,000 winners? And that's the best feeling. I said to someone yesterday, if I could change one thing, I would like to come back tomorrow as a different person and ride for another 10 years and say nothing and just see how it got on. But I don't think that's possible, sadly.
You've got the old book, was out yesterday as well?
Yeah, well, as I said, the book... Orion, the publishers who published my autobiography, had asked me about it a few years ago and would I be interested in doing it, and I was humming and hawing, and then I had a few nights out with a few of the lads, Carl and Fitzy and Hughesy, and yeah, that's my wife's fault, to be honest. I made a comment the other day, but someone asked me what's the book like, and I said, well, it's about a jockey, but if you want to read about a boring jockey who wants to ride winners and goes racing every day and goes home and watches replays and locks himself in a dark room when he's young and doesn't get out very often, then you should read my autobiography. But if you want to read the sort of jockey that we all want to be, then you should read about this lad. I mean, this lad's got a bit of everything about him. But lads like Carol Llewellyn, when they're reading it, will definitely maybe see glimpses of the past coming up in their dreams.
Look, AP, from everyone on At the Races, absolutely delighted you did it at one of our tracks, and fantastic day.
Thank you.